Hey there, and welcome to video number 2, The Laws of Success, and congratulations for reading chapter 2. Okay, so let's keep rolling. Now, do you recognize that little gadget on the screen? You used to have it in your mathematical set when you were still in primary school, and you used to call it a ruler. Remember that? Have you ever stopped to wonder why it's called a ruler? What, or should I say, who else do we call a ruler? Your president. That's right, your president. We also call him a ruler. Why? Because he rules the country. Now, in the olden days, we never used to have democracies like we have them now. The olden world used to have kingdoms. And in each kingdom, there was one man called the king. The king was also known as the ruler, and he used to rule the kingdom. So how was he ruling the kingdom? Through laws. So the king would come up with laws, also known as boundaries or guidelines. It never used to be like the way it is now, where a bill would first of all pass through parliament and then they would debate it before it becomes law. In those days, the word of the king immediately became law. So if the kings decided to say, okay, I'm extending my kingdom to the north, that became law. He extended to the north. If he woke up one morning and said, I'm declaring that people of the east should not wear shoes, that became law instantly. There was no debate. The word of the king became law. And this became the guideline and the boundary by which all the citizens of the land were expected to live. So let's get back to our little gadget on the screen and why it's called a ruler, because it's performing the same function that the kings were performing. We use it to draw boundaries and guidelines. And that's why it's called a ruler. So let's get to my PC and let's see if we can draw some boundaries and guidelines, shall we? Okay, so here we are, and we're going to go ahead and draw those boundaries. But before we do that, let me just explain that for every person, there is what is called a success zone as well as a failure zone. And what I mean by that is that there is a boundary that defines your success zone. In other words, if you do anything within that zone, you're going to be guaranteed success. And every time you move out of those boundaries, the only thing that you're going to face out of those boundaries is failure and frustration. Okay? So let's go ahead and draw those boundaries and see what actually defines those boundaries. Okay? So we're going to draw 6 boundaries. That'll be the first one, and second one. Not very perfect, but I think we can still do with that. And the 4th boundary. And let's do another boundary over here. And the last one. Okay, and inside this boundary we're going to put you. This is where you're going to operate. You're over there and you are very happy. Okay, you're very happy because you're within your success zone. As long as you operate within this boundary, this zone, you're guaranteed success. And anytime you go outside of these boundaries, the only thing you're going to find is failure and frustration. So this is your failure zone. Anything outside here is anywhere here is your failure zone. So what defines these boundaries, or what are these boundaries? So let's start with the first boundary. This one over here. Let's call this boundary mission. Okay, mission. Now, the other word for mission is the word purpose, or reason, or why. In other words, there is nothing on this planet that is here on this planet without a purpose. Everything that exists and everything that lives on this planet lives and is here for a purpose, for a reason. The chair, for instance, that you're sitting on was made for a reason. And the reason is that you can sit on it. The computer that you're looking at is there for a reason. The mosquito that bites you at night, I know it's a bad insect, but it's there for a reason. Nothing exists without a reason. And most importantly, you as a person, you exist for a reason, for a mission, for a purpose, a higher purpose. And your job is to find out what is that mission, what is that reason, what is that purpose, assignment for which you exist. And I can define that also as a platform. In other words, if you do not find out what your mission or your platform or your purpose is, you find yourself operating on other people's purposes, other people's missions and reasons. So you don't want to live your entire life on this earth fulfilling somebody else's mission. You want to first of all find out, why do I exist? Why do I live? Why am I here on this planet? That is your mission, and it is your job to find out that. And I'm going to give you clues on how you can find out that from the other boundaries that we are going to draw, because they are all interconnected. So every time you do not know or you do not find out your mission, you're going to be operating on another person's platform, another person's mission or assignment, and you don't want that. Okay. So the next boundary, let's call it abilities. The other word for abilities is the word gifts or the word talents. There is no one individual who doesn't have gifts and talents in them. We are all multi-gifted or multi-talented. Now, why do we have abilities? Why do we have these gifts and talents? The gifts and talents are like technology that has been pre-built inside of you to allow you, to enable you carry out your mission. Without this, the inherent abilities in you, you will not be able to carry out your mission. So by looking at the inherent abilities, the inherent gifts that you have, the inherent talents in you, you can quickly tell what your mission is. Because your abilities are not my abilities, because your mission is not my mission. You probably can sing better than me. Maybe you're meant to be a singer. Or you can play golf better than me. Maybe you're meant to be a golfer. Or maybe you can draw art much better than anybody you've ever met. The reason is probably you're meant to be an artist. So your abilities, your gifts, give you a clue to what you must be about, your mission. And what you will discover is that your inherent gifts, you don't necessarily have to work so hard to perfect them. For instance, if you were born to swim like a fish, you don't have to work hard to learn how to swim, because it's inherent in you. But if you were never born to swim, you will spend years and years and years trying to work on that weakness in you, and which is what the school system is entirely about. It focuses on working on your weakness instead of looking at your abilities, your inherent gifts, and working on those and perfecting them. Okay, so I'm sure you get the clue about abilities. The next boundary, let's call it select. The other word for select is the word choose or choice. In other words, you've got the power of choice in your hands to choose what you can be tomorrow. based on the abilities that I knew. Remember, I said that you have multi abilities within you. So you can, for instance, play golf. You can play golf. Maybe you can swim. And maybe you can also translate Chinese. So what you are going to choose among these gifts that you have is what you're going to end up. So the power of choice is within your hands. If you want to end up as the greatest swimmer, you need to select this gift and begin to work on that gift. If you work on your talent of translating Chinese, you are not going to end up as the greatest swimmer or the greatest golf player. No. So here you are. You've got the power of choice, the power of select. So choose wisely what you want to end up, because this whole thing connects back to your mission, what you must be about. Okay, let's move on to the next boundary. The next boundary, let's call it training. Okay, and the reason we are calling it training is because whatever you're going to choose here, the gift that you're going to choose, you are not yet the best at that gift. So you need to train it. You need to take it to the gym. You need to begin to work on it. So like I said earlier, whatever you're going to choose and whatever you're going to work on is what you're going to end up. Remember, everything is connected back to the mission. Okay? So you cannot end up with John Cena muscles for free. Every person has got muscles, but it's the muscles that go to the gym that shows. So if you want your muscles to show, take them for training. Let's move on to the next boundary. And this boundary, we're going to call it explore. Okay. Now, I am very sure that you, as well as me, we are all mesmerized by magic. We love to watch magic. And what I mean by that is, whenever you are watching, let me give you an example of a soccer match. And there are prolific players like Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. We love to watch those people. Why? Because they put magic in their skill. They explore their skill further than anybody else. And we love to watch them. If you want people to come and cheer you need to explore and put magic in your skill. In whatever you've chosen here on your abilities, begin to explore further and put magic in that. When you do that, my friend, you're operating within your success zone. Let's go to the last one very quickly. The last one, we're going to call it repetition. And there is no two ways about it. There is no two ways about it. They say repetition is the mother of skill. You want to be very skilled about what you do, whether it's business, whether it's talent, whether it's whatever profession it is. You cannot do one thing once per year or once per month and expect to reach levels of expertise. That's just not going to happen. Even if it's your inherent gift, you need to do the gift, to work on the gift repeatedly. Repetition is what makes you an expert. Okay? So let's do one thing. I want you to observe one thing very quickly here. If we pick this letter from the first boundary and we put it here, and we pick this letter from here and we put it there. Pick the next letter and we put it here. Pick the next letter and put it here. And the next letter and put it here. And the last one and put it here. We end up with a new word called master, because that's exactly what you want to end up. You want to become a master at your skill. You're master at your business, master at what you do. And you can never become master at what you do if you operate outside these boundaries. I hope you've picked up and learned one or two things from this scruffy drawing of mine. Please leave your comments below and let me know what you think about this, and see you in chapter 3.